Twisted Christian. What a day, folks. This is one of those things that I've been waiting for, and many of you have been waiting for. We were waiting for that 20,000 mark. All right, and as I've said before in other videos, and also Currency 365, that we should actually see it go further down than where it's at. So everything that the Federal Reserve is doing, it's not working. They are continuing to pump and pump and pump, and it's not going to work, folks. And unfortunately, this is what we need. We need the system to crash. We need the system to reset. We need the system to fall apart so that the new system can be put in. You know, as I look back, I look back over the last year, and I look at all the videos and all the videos I had to remove from YouTube. And it's one of the things that, you know, we all knew that this was coming, but we didn't know the circumstances surrounding particular crash. It's this whole thing with the virus has sped things up dramatically. And personally, in my next video, actually I got several videos coming over the next couple days. A very special video. You guys are going to really like it. But this video, I believe that this is connected to something to Kim Clement with everything that's going on. But I'll get more into that later. And I believe, you know, like I said, people, we're in a watch. And we're in a why now watch. In the midst of all this, it's not going to surprise me, but it will be a surprise to people who are not involved in the dinar community or in the currency community. We know, because we've been saying it for so long and listening to other people for so long, we know that all these circumstances is here and now for the perfect storm for the global currency reset. All right, so now for a lot of you who might be in a financial situation, for those of you who are waiting for some type of extra funds so you can get more currency or buy stocks, well, it's coming. So you already know that they have a plan to aim and send $2,000 to many Americans in $1,000 increments. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's extra that you could do whatever you need to do with. You need to pay your bills. Some of you are probably going to have to pay your bills. In the industry that I work in, as being part of the management team at a grocery store, and they've shut down all the restaurants except for drive-through. Yes, we've been pretty busy. Stores open 24 hours, which now they have gone down to the same as all the other stores, where they're shutting down at midnight, and then they're restocking the stores. And that's one of the things that you guys need to understand. A lot of people are going out there and buying food, but they're not buying like flashlights. You're not buying candles, or because what if the power goes out, right? If a lot of people are at home, and this does not apply to everybody, because people who live in California, your situation is different from people in Idaho, and your situation is different from people in Illinois. So Illinois is kind of a mix. You know, they're starting to put California on a lockdown. So everybody's situation and where they're at is different. So when you do get the money, just make sure that you use it wisely. And for those of you who have said that you don't have money for any additional dinars, well, there you go. All right, then we already know that there is a new prime minister, right, in Iraq. And I did a little study on this guy. You know, he seems like he's okay. And this is just another one of those wait and see. Like I said, I still look for a body in some way, somehow, to be in a position of power. I don't know what this guy's relationship with a body actually is. If you guys do the research, you know, make a comment. And this doesn't mean that he's actually going to stay in that position, because you saw what happened to the last prime minister, right? He got in, he was like, forget this, and he got out. You know, it's just amazing that there are so many things that are shutting down all around across the country. They're shutting down all movie theaters. Well, what about those movie theaters where there is no virus? And this is very interesting. You know, you have all these movie stars coming out and they're saying certain things. Oh, I got the virus. You got all these. If you look at the states that have actually like basically shut down, or they're shutting down restaurants and all these different things. And but if you notice across the board, which political party is doing that way more often than the other? But yet back in 2009, when the pandemic was way worse than this, the markets didn't go through all this, the people and the governments didn't go all through all this. So what I see is going to be different. And I'm going to show you guys in my next video. I'm doing a Kim Clement watch on a specific prophecy that he did. And then there's one thing that I do want to deal with, and I've talked about the mass arrest. A lot of people don't understand this whole thing with the mass arrest, and some things have been happening. You see over 1,300 CEOs have stepped down. How many of those have actually going to be facing charges? We look at during this time period when the virus is going around, they made over 600 arrests targeting cartel people. Right? And this is huge because a lot of these people are connected to the corruption. 600 in a time of crisis. There's 600, and you're gonna see some arrests that are gonna be publicly. Now for the last year there have been a lot of arrests, tons. Just do the research. Tons of new laws were signed concerning CP, and CT. Right, when they talk about trafficking little ones, so you guys understand what I'm talking about. All that there has been going on for the last year, but the media is not reporting it because a lot of those arrests are connected to people in position of power. Websites have been shut down. So there have been thousands of people arrested on CP and CT charges. We still have over 100 and something thousand sealed indictments, which I've discussed before on this channel, and probably, like I said, about only a third of those are actual indictments against somebody. The others are normally witnesses and other people who may be giving up information. All right, over here in Saudi Arabia, they call it new mass corruption arrests. Over 300 people. Okay, and this is actually happening to in other governments, but this is huge because you guys have to understand the role of Saudi Arabia plays with and how they dictate certain things around the world. And you see how Russia's at an oil war with them right now. But there's some people, if you actually look at the names of the people, some of those people have direct connection to the previous administrations. And I'm not going to say too much about that because when I start really getting into that, then they ding my video. So all I'm going to say is they've been doing them while this is going on, right? And the whole thing with the cartel here in the United States, I'm glad that this president has stepped up, because especially the black community and the minority and inner cities have been hit hard by the drug war. And no president ever really stood up. All they did was, we just need to sentence these people for a long time and that will solve the problem, and it doesn't. And somebody who has worked in law enforcement, who has seen the system fail people over and over, this is a good thing, right? Because they're saving lives, right? They're saving the future. Now, the other thing I do want to bring up is some of you who do need money, and I've brought this up before, and the link will be in the description to all these different sites. Okay, and one of the things is you guys need to start looking for unclaimed money again. Some of you have money out there. I know in some places some of the offices are closed, but that does not stop you from printing out and researching and getting the information and getting a notary for your ID and all of that. And one of the things and I've had multiple people email me and tell me about searching for lost money. Whatever state you're in, right? So if you're in Texas, you'll just type in Texas unclaimed money. If you're in New York, you can type in New York unclaimed money. If you're in a state that's on lockdown, since a lot of places are on lockdown, If you live in one of those areas, you could get everything ready, and then when the time, then you could send off the information. So when all this blows over, they could process your unclaimed money. So it doesn't matter what state you live in, and if you live outside the United States, I don't know what country your process might have for lost money, but ours, most states are pretty strict. If if a company sends you a check and you don't get that check within a certain amount of, if you don't cash that check within a certain amount of time, then they send that money to the state, and the state holds on to it, right? And here in Illinois, it's only like a 3 year, a 2 or 3 year process where they have to send that money to the state. So for those of you, you might be newer to this channel, I've discussed this about unclaimed funds. There is a link below in my Google document. And in this Google document, it has other links to other different types of lost money, right? Because not everything is reported. I've even had people call, even though they didn't see anything on the website. People have told me they've called and they had money in there, but it wasn't listed on the website. So you just want to make sure that all your ducks in a row, as far as all your finances, that you have everything that you can have, right? And there's something that I want to show you guys. All right, and I want you to be prepared and be aware for this. It's been a lot of it is being said for those of you who follow 17. There's a lot of information that is coming out about some of the things that are getting ready to happen. So I'm here on Twitter. Oh wow, an Oki update. Is that Oki the oil man? I remember that guy. If that's the same guy, I just remember all the times that the dinars were supposed to hit every time I see that name. So that's pretty interesting. All right, folks. Now, those of you who follow 17, and I'm just going to kind of go through some of these Twitter posts, right? And they call it 10 Days of Darkness, right? Where a lot of the social media will be down for a period of time, right? And this is what I say about when they revalue, you guys got to be, you guys want to be ready, because if your internet goes out, if something happens to where your bank is on lockdown, there's a lot of different things that could be happening around the same time. And I'll get that in my video. Some of you have asked me about 6 hours. Why do I say we only have 6 hours to get the Vietnamese dong? I'm going to explain that in another video coming up that I've been working on. All right, so here we go. Here's a post here. They're talking about it. This person here in April that's going to start. We have Be Prepared for 10 Days right there. That was on March 12th. This guy's broken down into a chart. Some of these guys, they're really into this stuff. And a lot of these people, they've made a lot of points of things. They've made a lot of points. They were able to show a lot of different events that happened in the news and what 17 said. So here's another one. Remember, the 10 days is not about the virus. Think swamp. Right? They're using that. They're going to be using that for cover to make their arrest. See, there's a lot of people talking about it. You just keep going and going. 10 days, 10 days. And there may be a connection to what's going on with what 17 was saying. You're talking about posts that were made several years ago about some of the names of this stuff. So it says here, 17 mentions 10 days of darkness at a time when the internet will be down. An emergency broadcasting system will be used to disseminate information. So yeah, there's a lot of speculation out there with that. And so far, I have seen a lot of things with 17 being right and correct. And it's something that I do not talk about on my channel just because I've already gone through a lot not being able to post videos anyways, and I don't want to go any further than that. So you guys, if you have a Twitter, go in there, start doing the research. And a lot of people believe now this is the time that we are approaching that time period now. And this is the perfect storm. The more likes that it receives, the more that it's recommended. And we're going to continue to watch, folks. We are going to continue to watch on a daily basis. I am still, unfortunately, I still have to go to work and supply and be there for many of the people that are doing their shopping. And for those of you who are doing your shopping, make sure that you're not buying stuff that's going to go bad in 3 or 4 days, and stop buying junk food. Stop buying junk food, because that's not going to help you. It's just going to make things worse. You just be amazed of what is going off the shelf in a time of crisis, and the things that should be coming off the shelf are not. You got to remember, folks, if wherever you live, if the power goes down, you will not be able to even cook the food that you have in your refrigerator, and then you have to keep it cold. So how many of you are even prepared for that? That if your refrigerator was to stop working, do you have enough ice and a big enough cooler to keep most of your stuff cold? So please be careful. And with that being said, Twisted Christian out.